Put your hands together for the team Valyrian Steelers.
Dear Council, on this auspicious day, we are facing a crisis with the business of apparel in RNG. In this crisis, actually the business of RNG has been running for many days. In the last 20 years, we have seen many great business for the big sharks have taken over the small players. Let me tell you a tragic incident. An anonymous company started its journey from 1999. In the first 5 years of its business, it could pay back its loans. In the next 2 years, it also continued to enjoy many profits. So the managers, they decided to give some share of the profits to the workers, and thus things were going on well, but until for some internal issues, there were huge amount of losses and it was pretty much continuous. So what happened was that the plan was cancelled and many people and many of the workers were actually demotivated, and thus they started migrating. You see, due to this migration problem, other problems also occurred and they could not mitigate this problem eventually. And thus, the company that could make history itself became historical. And eventually, it became because of one error, that is labor migration. Isn't that the sort of problem we are facing in this case? Of course we are. But before we get to that place, let's come to the situation analysis. You see, we are dealing with this company named Paradise Fashions Limited. It has been running for 10 years. It is a 100% export-oriented company, and it also is located in Gazipur, a key commercial area. What else do we know about this company? Let's go to the SWOT analysis. You see, its key strengths are that it is earning good amount of exports, and it is also a 100% export-oriented industry. Its weakness is, however, that the HRM or the human resource management is pretty much low. But there are good opportunities to this because RMG is very famous and it has a good reputation in USA and Europe. And also RMG is, in RMG government gives much amount of cash incentives due to export. But there are also threats. What are the threats we have seen in the recent 3 years? There has been GSP facility eradication. There has been illegal implication of laws by Accord and Alliance or ANA. And world textile market has been fluctuating day by day. Now, to understand this infinite game of business of RMG, we need to understand the RMG value chain. What is the value chain? Here, there are 4 elements: the sourcing, manufacturers, the export or export agency or distributors, and the retail stores. That is up to the customers. We are dealing with Paradise Fashions Limited, who are situated in this zone. That is the garment manufacturing contractors. They are facing a huge problem. What is that problem? Let's come to know.
Okay, as we have seen the current situation going on in this company, now we are going to have a look at the issues that the company is currently dealing with. So, as we can see that the profit of the company has decreased in a drastic amount, and behind this, the underlying problems could be the 3 key mishaps that has happened in the last 3 years, and these are the world's textile market inflation and the illegal implication from Accord and Alliance, and the generalization system of the preference, that is the GSP, that also irrigated from USA, and that eventually helped the company a lot in the past years. So all these mishaps lead to the labor migration of the company. That happened, the company lose the amount of labor force, and this had a great impact on the company as a whole. As we can see, the laborers migrated, the company happened to decrease the productivity, and productivity means the capacity of the company to produce ordered goods. So as this decreased, eventually the profit also decreased drastically. So, and if this situation keeps prevailing for a while, then soon the company will have to face a major loss in near future.
Now, let's have a look for the alternatives. Basically, there are two alternatives. One is Initiative of Paradise Fashion Limited, another one is Initiative Alim Garments Limited. Now we are going to evaluate the first one. In the first one, for dormitory facilities, we can say that it will increase the worker productivity because they have not think about when they are going to home, and it will decrease the migration rate dramatically, and then it will create a strong relationship among the workers, and thus will help to develop a better working place. But for these things, it need huge initiative cost, and it is big challenge is it needs a strong union trade. But after evaluating this one, when we go to the second one, we can see that profit sharing scheme is like motivation for the worker for staying in the company. But and another one is better working environment with some other good initiative works can hold the workers mortar. But for imposing these things, we need good amount of investment. Moreover things, it needs maintenance requirements, and it means more higher cost. So after evaluating the pros and cons of both alternatives, we can say that those are like same. But if we need to overcome these things, we need to see the solution.
So here comes the solution part. We take the both alternatives and we have come to a point and a solution for shorter time period. First of all, we will share our profit with our workers. It will be 4% of the total profit we are gaining. Secondly, we will provide a better working environment by motivating our workers through recognition like Star of the Month. This will create a healthy competition in the company. And lastly, we will create a worker welfare by providing medical facilities, daycare center, child education, which will be run by NGOs like BRAC or JAGO. For longer term period, first of all, we will provide a transportation system which will be implemented after making a survey in the second year of our proposed plan. Secondly, we will raise a fund. This fund will consist of 2% of the profit of our company, also with the CRS, which is Corporate Social Responsibility. The workers will be benefited from this fund, like they can have a loan from this fund without interest, and company will provide some money to the workers who will be working in this company for a longer time period. And lastly, we will provide a training for our workers. This will develop their skills. It is a win-win situation for both the company and the workers. Now, it's time for monitoring and evaluation. We have some key performance indicator. Our first KPI is productivity. Our second KPI is profitability. These two KPIs will be ensured through the reduction of possibility of labor migration, and our target is worker satisfaction. Next, come to the feasibility analysis. Sir, we have already provided you the data. You can see here we have a total revenue of 10 million per year. The profit will be 20% of the total revenue, which is around 2 million. After adding the cash incentive on export and deducting the taxes, finally we have a profit around 1.4 million per year.
Now, since we have all given solutions and many other plans, perhaps there might be suspicions why the dormitory plan was not implemented. Well, here's why. Because in order to get the dormitory, you see there was $16.2 million US of budget. But eventually, just think about that the company has a yearly profit of what? 1.4 million US dollars. But in order to get this dormitory, you need to take a loan. So let's get to the loan part. As per authentic sources, we have gathered that there is 9 to 16% of interest rate for the loan. Now, if we calculate the interest rate, what do we get? Perhaps we can take 13% of interest rate for 16.2 million and we get 2.1 million of interest. And if we add that to the total amount of return on the year, and that is we get 18.3 million. Now, in order to get to the loan payment, we have to think about profits. What is the profit? The profit is 1.4 million. If the company is quite desperate to mitigate the loan, perhaps it will take 80% of the profit to just mitigate the loan, and thus what will happen is that we will get 0.9 million per year just to mitigate the loan, and eventually this will take 20 long years to just meet the loan. Besides, one more thing. Does the company need dormitory? Does it have double shifts or more shifts? It doesn't have double or more shifts. Besides, the workers, they live in a very social, they are social beings, they are human beings, they live in a social environment. If they come to a new social environment, will they cope up? Actually, perhaps not. Actually, this is the source of our information. Now, the challenges we might face is that funding, where will it come from? It is basically coming from a company profits and NGO. And then worker retention. To mitigate this, we are going to give some facilities to them. And for the crucial conditions, as we have seen in the case, to mitigate this, those crucial conditions are actually getting out in here from due to worker shortage. There is a worker shortage already in this company. So how to mitigate that? Our schemes are like, if a worker is present in the company, he will be the liaison medium just to hire new workers. Okay, and for that we will give them bonus. Now, let's come to the timeline. Let's come to timeline. In the first 2 years, we will implement the short-term plans, and in the last 3 years, we will implement the long-term plans. And just not that, we will keep check of we will keep survey and check of all of these plans of us, and we will also continue do continuous improvement in the later years after 5 years. That will be the end of our presentation, and all we want to say, can we finish the presentation? And all we want to say is that
if you fight for your dreams will fight for you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
thank you, sir.
So you have gone for Alim model, right? Ultimately, Alim Garments model, right?
Yes.
There are two models: Alim Garments and then Paradise Garments model, right?
Yes, sir.
So can you please tell one reason why you should not choose Alim Garments?
Sorry, sir.
Sorry, sir.
If I tell you to choose one reason, not to choose one reason not to choose Alim Garments model, what would be your answer?
So sorry, sir. We have taken some points from Alim Garments. We have not taken the points given to Paradise. They have consulted us to make a dormitory. We have not suggested to take that.
Sir, if we have any
You have gone through the SWOT analysis, right?
yes, sir.
So any weakness of this, of your, against your logic, against your, Alim Garments reason?
So can we discuss about that?
Yes.
Sir, basically we are making the best out of both alternatives. Actually, we are not like absolutely taking the Alim Garments or absolutely taking that of Paradise Fashion, right? I hope you can see that in our long-term plans also, because sir, basically. So in this section, actually, we have been doing a hybrid solution, right? This is a short-term plan. As you can see, 4% of workers. This is from Alim Garments. this is actually the profit sharing scheme. And then again, motivating workers to recognition. This is also from that. And also the workers' welfare by NGOs. Actually, workers' welfare is also included in the Paradise Fashion Scheme. Alright. And then again, in the long-term plan, sir, there is a transportation model of us.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. It is indeed an excellent presentation. Especially, I would like to give full marks, although there is no marking for the PowerPoint presentation.
Thank you, sir.
It is indeed a really one of the nicest presentation I have seen.
Thank you, sir.
First of all, I would like to clarify 2 points. I don't blame you because you are still studying. So, one thing is you have some misconception. Not only you, I have seen some other groups as well. Eradication of GSP in the US market. Actually, Bangladesh never had GSP in the US market in the RMG sector. Bangladesh never had. There was a GSP eradication for other products. For other than RMG, RMG, we never had GSP even before. So there is no such cases. But of course, the eradication of GSP in the Eurozone and other places could be a concern in the coming days as Bangladesh has moved to a middle income country. It will not happen immediately. It will happen probably by 2027, something like that. So we need to get prepared for that. But for the case of United States, we never had GSP and we don't have any possibility in near future as well. Anyway, and the other thing I would like to correct you is you had given a statistics of 13% bank interest for making a dormitory facility. Honestly speaking, there is a low-cost financing for the dormitory option. For example, it is World Bank and IFC, they are financing the dormitory for the RMG workers at 1 to 2% interest. And adding up the local bank's commission, it will cost around 5%. Do you want to change your mind, or you still want to keep in the option of Alim Gardas?
Sir, with due respect, actually, that was a good, with due respect, that information wasn't available, but actually, like we have given a source of independent, we have come to know that for bigger enterprises, loan...
No, the loan interest, the general loan interest is of course 9 to 16%, what you have suggested is absolutely correct. But there is a special fund for the RMG workers dormitory. If you check with any banks, they will get to know about this. World Bank, through our Bangladesh Bank, is actually providing this fund, and they are charging on the LIBOR interest. LIBOR interest varies from 1 to 2%, and you have to get the loan from another commercial bank, let's say Sonali Bank or Exim Bank. They will add probably another 3 to 4% or 2 to 3% on top of that. So altogether, there is a fund availability at the rate of 5%. Only for these particular investments. General investments, not possible, but only for dormitory, setting up a dormitory, there is an option available. Do you want to change your mind?
So, since it's an authentic thing, so of course, yes.
Nevertheless, I mean, it's okay. I don't have.
Thank you for nice presentation. Actually, Mr. Saiful asked the question I wanted to ask. If the interest rate changes from here to low, and your break-even year was 20 years, what break-even year would tempt you to change your decision? 2 years or 5 years, if you can break even? So I guess you answered that question earlier. Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you, sir.
My question is, with all the suggestions you have made, how much of migration you think it can be reduced? Labor migration. Do you understand my questions? Because your problem is to reduce the migration. So whatever you suggested, short term, long term, everything, how much of migration you think can be reduced?
Can we discuss that? Basically, in this case, we didn't find the metrics required for paradise garments with respect to the amount of garments workers. So we didn't take the chance to just make assumptions of any percentage of growth. So we believe that whether it be the short-term plans, but in the long-term plans, we believe it will be quite significant. But we cannot assume because metrics need to be exact as far as we know.
But there is a statistics in there for paradise fashion. There is a statistics of how much migration is happening in last 6 months.
Yes, sir.
Is it not?
Yes,
so
sir.
that means everything is based on how much you can reduce in next 5 years.
It is pretty much a probability, okay. So,
But at the end of the day, that has to be your solution,
yes, sir.
isn't it? I mean, you propose so many things without looking at the solution problem itself and what is the outcome of it. How do you think, as an owner, I would trust you then? Because you are suggesting, let's say, one of the owners of something, you have this silver scheme, and without giving me number, how much it could be solved.
For the shorter period, as we are offering some offer to the facilities to our workers, for the shorter period we can't assume, but for longer period, when we are offering more facilities to them, we can assume it will be a significant number, around 50 to 60%. And as the time goes, our facilities will improve, and we have already discussed that we will go for continuous improvement. I think this number will just significantly increase. The number of migration will significantly decrease, and we hope after some years the number will come to a very, very short term.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.